Good evening and welcome everybody to WOR. We are here for, what is it, season 19 now. We've got an incredible season just gone and, well, I say just gone, first half of the season just gone with Britain last week. And if you missed Silverstone, I do recommend going to re-watch that one afterward. I am yet again joined by the incredible LCR Leopard, who made a name for himself on the track and now is joining in the commentary side.
Yes, indeed. Good evening, everyone. If I could speak English, it would help. It is advised. Good evening, everybody. Once again, here for round 6. Round 6 of 10. Only 5 rounds remain, if you include this one. This round's going to be a pivotal one. Well, these next 2 rounds are going to be pivotal. 2 very similar circuits. We won't get ahead of ourselves. Obviously, next week we're off to the Hungaroring, so a similar style of circuit. So these 2 rounds are going to be crucial. As to, who can properly mount their title charge, who's going to be really involved come the business end of the season. Well, this is the business end of the season, really. It kind of slowly starts now, as we are now into the second half of the season. Rez Thomason leads the way by 7 points to NVR Gabor, but there are plenty others. If they get a run going, they'll be, putting themselves more than within contention. If they get that run going in these next couple races. So still very much all to play for, as Joe Murphy tops the timing screen. Scrap that. Tech Brutal tops the time. It's just going to go this way, isn't it? Gabor tops the timing screen. 1:08.3. 1:08. Yeah, if I could. Goodness me. Gareth, please take over. I can't speak apparently.
I'll give you your teeth in a minute. But yes, Gabble leading the way at the moment, and we'll have a look at the standing. We did have a quick look at last week's race results. There are a few penalties added there, and Cameron Dowds has come to the qualifying party with a 1:08.274 to start with. Alpha Gully throws themselves up into 9th place. I think Quartz could very well be on a time. TTM Alcin as well on track, and I think really that's the first runs done. iPhantom and Ian not able to set a lap time on their first runs anyway. Quartz looking pretty solid at the moment though, coming through this middle sector, and probably will look to try and set themselves into probably about the mid park. I can't see them beating Cameron at this moment in time.
Yeah, be surprised if that wants to happen. We'll see. Well, there you go. It's not going to beat Cameron if he peels off into the pit lane last second. So yeah, Quartz still P16. Plenty of time. Obviously, being a short track, they'll get lots of runs at it. Probably 4 runs at it is what they'll probably get. Obviously, some tracks are just too long where you have to just resort to 3. But here, definitely, it'll be 4 runs. It'll be very fast pace. This qualifying session, they'll be in and out just like that. And yeah, before you know it, they're on another flying lap. But yeah, Cameron Dowds after the first run leads the way, which makes a change, doesn't it? LS said hello.
That's a wonderful lap time of MLS and TTM throwing themselves into 2nd place for the time being. Obviously, the track will continue to ramp up and we'll get times quicker than that. But that is a very good banker lap time, beating Gabble, who's very good at qualifying that we've seen so far throughout the whole of the season, really.
Yeah, obviously Gabble has been up there a lot. What I'm intrigued. I mean, we've been mentioning this a lot of the season, and we've been mentioning it a lot, just in general, over the past couple seasons. Is the qualifying of Cameron Dowds. It's interesting, after the first run, he has put it onto provisional pole position. Can he hold on? Has he got more time in it? I'm sure everyone's got more time. Probably going off those first ones, we're probably going to see 1:07s, will be my guess, going off that. But I'll be interested to see if Cameron Dowds can put on the front 2 rows. That'll be concerning for the rest of the field if he can manage that.
Yeah, Renz will be definitely, possible. Well, I say definitely concerned, really, because he's currently down in 12th place. It's like the polar opposite of last week at Britain.
Role reversal, isn't it? Between the 2 of them, at least for the time being. Of course, still plenty of time. 12 minutes remaining of this qualifying session, so I don't think Ren's really panicking too much just as of yet. He's still probably got another 2-3 goes at this. And quite frankly, again, just with how powerful DRS is even around here, I still expect to see quite a bit of overtaking, especially into turn 1. But you know, as long as you're probably on the front 3 rows, you're in a good position. You're in the mix. You're not leaving yourself with ridiculous amounts of work to do by qualifying, you know, outside the top 10 or, you know, the back end of the top 10, just leaving yourself with, you know, unnecessary work to do. Which is what's happened to Cameron Dowds a lot, as Phantom has actually got to P3 in that Red Bull. He had a solid debut last season. Last race in Silverstone, if I remember correctly, was tagging onto the back of that leading DRS train quite nicely, if I remember correctly. So yeah, he's having a good time of it, progressing nicely at P3 currently, heading the second row of the grid is Phantom. He'll obviously try and look to stay there, but obviously, as mentioned plenty of times already, long way to go.
Definitely, and something, you know what, I did the PC Tier 2 on Monday night, which was great fun, but there was a lot of drivers, and that was at Silverstone, so we might see it here because it is a shorter track, but lots of drivers on the same time or within 0.02 of a second of each other, and we're seeing that between second and fourth at the moment. It is really, really tight, as I think Joe Murphy throws themselves into fourth place. Now, I don't have an incredible stat like I did last week, and there's goes Brando in fourth place, but it hasn't been a happy hunting ground here, Netherlands, for the eventual champion, as there goes Renz, putting himself on pole position, provisionally. Only one of the last 4 champions has won at the Netherlands, and WOR has only been the Netherlands 4 times.
So what you're saying is it's a complete role reversal of Silverstone last week. I think, if I got that right?
Pretty much. Silverstone, no, none of the champions.
Yeah, don't win at Silverstone if you want to be champion. Here, wait, no, it's the same thing. Is it the same? I'm confused.
Yeah, it's very close, but we did have a winner at the Netherlands, I believe, in season 12, when Shadow won. But the rest, everyone else, I don't actually think finished the Netherlands. Antoine did in season 10, and that's just showing how far back it is. And what's even stranger about it, the Netherlands has always been at the first half of the season for WOR.
Well, yeah, but I mean, because where it came in, I think, what was it, 2020? Left in 2020 we first got Zandvoort, and I think from memory it was placed like right at the beginning of the season in kind of that Monaco Canada kind of section, if I remember correctly. So it wouldn't surprise me that a lot, just by that alone, you know, got a few Zandvoort races in this first half of the season. But yeah, this time it properly kicks off the second half of the season in a very twisty doubleheader with Hungaroring next week. So yeah, who knows what kind of role that plays, or are we just looking too much into it? Probably the second one, if we're being honest. Meanwhile, we said Rhodes Thompson didn't have to panic, and well, that's why. He now is on provisional pole position, is our championship leader with just over 8 minutes remaining. Cameron Dowds responded, put it back onto the front row of the grid. So Cameron looks to have a bit of pace here, more importantly, 1 lap pace, which is rather crucial.
It'll definitely be crucial here at Zandvoort tonight. You kind of really want to be leading going into turn 1, and it is, in a weird way, it's similar to a street track. It's difficult to overtake. It's as Alison there, back end wobbles at the exit of turn 12. Could cost time. He's 2/10 down on his previous best, as Renz is back out 7.5 minutes of the session remaining. But yeah, it's difficult to overtake, like we mentioned, and you know what, you want to be leading for as long as you can, because you're not necessarily going to be able to do that overtake into turn 1. Yeah,
I mean, I think the key here is it'll be the same with Hungary. It might even be a bit easier with Hungary next week. It's very, it's incredibly difficult, but not impossible. There are options. Obviously, there'll be the big one down into turn 1, especially if you got DRS and the car ahead doesn't. So it'll be interesting if we see any DRS chicken going into the last lap. I'm gonna say no, but I also wouldn't be shocked either, because it's deceptively quite long, that stroll. The run you get, because obviously you get out of the, which reminds me, I haven't got the track map up, but you get out of kind of this final corner with which Tech Brutal is setting up now, and then you're on the throttle. I mean, DRS is activated right there, you know, across the banking. So this DRS straight is actually quite long, with the, you know, with the slingshot you can get. So we will probably actually see quite a few moves, I reckon, down into one, but then, or you know, down into one, or you know, starting into one, then you know, finishing off through turns 2, 3, and 4. But yeah, beyond that, it is going to be a lot of single file running. It's going to have to, you know, drivers are going to have to be patient or creative, which these drivers don't lack, as we've seen over the years. They definitely don't lack in, say, creating something out of nothing, for better or for worse.
Definitely, they're very good at producing on well when it needs to happen. We've got Rennes now coming into the third sector. He's slightly up on his lap time, so it could be even quicker. I wonder if we're going to hit the 107s tonight. It's going to be very, very special if they do, with 5.5 minutes of the session remaining. Gabble throws themselves into second, as there is quicker from Rennes, very close. But what can Cameron Dowds do? He can go into the pit lane. Tech then, he's on a lap time. He's slightly down on his lap, so he won't improve. Ryan earlier threw themselves into 4th place, but it wasn't to be in the end. He's now down to 7th, with plenty more coming through thick and fast. And this is what you mentioned earlier on, is drivers will be wanting to put that 4th lap in, because it will make a difference here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, why wouldn't you go for a 4th lap? The only other, I mean, well, no, because we have the lobby restart, don't we? So there's literally absolutely no reason to, you know, to not go for an extra run. You might, you know, more goes at it can only be a good thing. You know, more chances and whatnot. I mean, I guess the only thing, you know, reason against it, you could argue, would be some sort of burnout, that you don't want to be going, you know, flat out for, you know, 17, 18 minutes. Like that's realistically the only advantage I can see to doing 3. So you really would, I personally would want a 4th go at it if possible.
Definitely. I agree with you on that one, especially with the lobby restart through it as well. Epic Fail, though, down in 15th. Not what we expect, but he's only half a second off of the pole. We do expect Epic to be a little bit higher up at the moment. He's had a very, very good season. Here's Dirk across the line into 9th alongside his teammate Brando. But yeah, Dirk, a fantastic season. This, not Dirk, sorry, Epic Vale from his tier 2. Last season, he's showing he can fight with the big boys.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've mentioned it, you know, already quite a bit, but I remember kind of when I began to commentate the second half of Tier 2 last season from Monza in round 70, you know, he rocked up, you know, he was about 40-odd points behind, and he just rocked up, put it on pole with, you know, an incredible lap, and only, you know, just lost out to Schumacher in the end. But, you know, he was on it, and you could tell he was on it, just the way he was driving. You know, the car was moving all over the shop, but it was quick. You know, it looked quick, it looked extravagant the way he was driving. Yeah, again, it was quick, and you know, he mounted a very, very late championship charge. Unfortunately, it all came crashing down in Saudi Arabia with a DNF, as was the case for Spicer. That double DNF for Spicer and Epic Vale is what really properly brought those two title charges to a halt, and kind of gave Tech Brutal a massive lot of breathing space heading into Suzuka, which he thoroughly took advantage of. But yeah, Epic Vale, he was something to watch in that second half of last season Tier 2, and the way he was just bringing down the gap was something to behold. Yeah, didn't quite work out, but he definitely had momentum going with him heading into this season, and it's been great to see, you know, what he can do, and him really mixing up with the big boys at the front here in Tier 1. And same for Tech Brutal, you know, Tech Brutal's been there or thereabouts on a number of occasions this season as our reigning Tier 2 champion. And he's putting in decent performance here in qualifying here today.
Yeah, up into 6th at the moment, and well, it's good to see people throwing it around and making sure people don't. Oh, and Quartz has a big mistake at the exit of turn 8. I'm not even sure how he's managed to do that. He's just maybe got caught on the curb. You know, when the curb just unsettles you and well keeps in the middle of the car, and he is recharging to go again. But who else could be on a lap time? I mean, we've spoken about him just now, and that's Tech, but he's slightly down on his lap time at the slightly up on his lap time, but in the end of the first sector. Let's see if he can handle turn 8 a little bit better than his teammate.
Yeah, here we go then through the middle sector. Maximum commitment from our reigning Tier 2 champion. Has he got any time in his back pocket as we reach the second sector split? Little bit wide, just didn't quite clip the apex as much as he'd like as we enter this second DRS straight. And yeah, you can see lost a little bit of time. Was a couple hundredths up, now a few more hundreds down as now we approach the last sector. Now he just needs one good exit here through turn 13. Go good exit. Overtake enabled, DRS enabled, and now it's just flat out towards the line for our Tier 2 champion. And I think that says a lot about how he feels about that lap time. Quantum's up through sector 1. Cameron Dowes is going again. So is Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy's in fact, I think he's just put that up to second, has he? Not quite. Rens Thomason, 70 thousandths off the 1:07 barrier, so ever so close. And you'd have to think if someone is going to take pole from him, it is going to have to be a 1:07. What can Gabor do? What can Cameron Dowds do? A little bit tidier for Cameron Dowds in comparison to Zekbrul as we enter that second DRS straight once again. How much time has he got in his back pocket? He's got half a 10 as we approach the last sector.
Let's see what Quantum can do as he crosses the line. He's up into second. That's very good. Gabble then, his teammate in the Alpine, coming across. He's well and truly gone, isn't he? So let's go on to the only other driver is Cameron Dowds. It's not enough. It's second place for him. A few other drivers will be coming through now. Justin, last week's race winner, he just doesn't have it in the bag at the moment as he's coming through sector 2, finishing sector 2 into sector 3. He's only a little bit up on his lap time, but he's 14th at the moment. 0.4 of a second away from Rens, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when it's a short track like this, it means all the difference. Across the line for the BRT driver, he goes up a little bit to 12th place.
Up to 12th for the Kickstarter. Last week's race winner Spicer into the pit lane, and I think that is that. Rens Thomason on pole position by just under a 10th of a second to one of his main title rivals, Cameron Dowds. And yeah, Rens Thomason, the man in form, championship leader. Going about extending his advantage at the top of the championship in the right way, pole position.
That's exactly what you have to do. You've got to beat everyone else to make sure you win the title. And at the moment, he is doing just that in some style as well. And we'll have a look at the standings in a moment because it'll be great just to get some clarity for everyone on it. I don't think we had any major penalty from last week, but Rens on pole with Cameron Downs in second. Third is Quantum. Great to see him back performing after some terrible issues from connection to control equipment, let's say. Brando in fourth place. I didn't even see him pop himself up there. That's great for him. Joe Murphy in fifth. Gabble in sixth place. I Phantom 7th, 8th in Tech in 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Alpha Gully. Then we've got Ryan, Justin, Dirk, Alson, Zach, Quartz, Epic Vale, Spicer, Hazara, and Zan. They're down in 20th. And wow, Alpha Gully had a great bit of pace last week, and he's not there, and Epic Vale as well. It's a little bit all over the place, considering it's, from last week. This is what we love about league racing.
Yeah, it's a completely different track, Zandvoort, isn't it? It's Silverstone, it's flowing, it's very high speed. Zandvoort's high speed in its own right, but it's tight. It's tight and twisty. Especially when it comes to wheel racing, it's going to be completely different. Silverstone we saw battling left and right. This is going to be a lot more single file. I think if it isn't, yeah, we're in for a treat if that isn't the case. if they are going to go side by side, left, right, and centre at every single possible opportunity. I think one hopes for their sake that they, or the driver's sake, that they don't decide to go mad like that. But it'll be very entertaining to watch if they do. As now we get to watch the drivers go completely mental off this non-race start, if you will.
Yeah, as fun as it is, let's not. A lot of people just retire nowadays. This is the race results from last week, and obviously go back and have a watch. It was a fantastic one, but this is the one that people are going to be wondering about halfway through the season. The standings are Rens Thomason by 7 points. That's an incredible amount of points for. Well, that's not an incredible amount of points. Sorry, for his performances that he's put in recently.
Yes, sorry, completely blanked on him. Was that Rens Thompson you're on about? Or...
Yes, yeah, Rens.
Sorry.
With his performance, you would kind of expect, like a little bit higher gap, but that just shows the quality, I guess, of everyone else around.
Yeah, well, he did miss Shanghai. He has only done the 4 rounds, as everyone else, or most around him has done 5. So, he has actually missed a round as Rens Thompson, which would explain potentially why the gap isn't as big as it could be, because the 4 rounds he's done, I mean, he's had 3 podiums and 1 7th place. He's been, the most consistent out of anybody. And not just consistent, it's consistent big results, which is what you need in this kind of championship. Only 10 rounds. It's getting, big points consistently. And that's why he's leading the championship at this moment in time. Of course, there are those that have been, look at, say, Joe Murphy, 15 points off, barring his DNF and Silverstone last week. He's been consistent himself. He's every time he's finished, he's been the top 5. And, that's, again, the sort of consistency that's going to put him in a position to really fight for the title in the second half of the season. WOR, again, has had a good start to the season with 3 podiums, of his own. So those 3 have had really good starts of the season, but it's been Rens Thomason that has maybe just had that little bit of edge and maybe a bit more of a assurance about him, which I guess would be the way I'd put it.
Yeah, well, there's obviously a big victory for Justin last week. He's thrown himself into this title fight, and Brando, obviously in, I think, 4th in the end in qualifying, still hanging in there as well. An epic fail you can't count out, but he's not had the best of lucks today in qualifying so far. But with only 5 rounds remaining, people have got to, well, they've got to get their wiggle on, I guess is the best way to describe it. They want to make sure, well, start getting those, the major points in sooner and not let Rens Thomason run away with it. So we are just waiting for the lobby to reset. So please bear with us. Let us know in the chat who you think is going to take victory here tonight. And I'm going to ask you early on this one, Leopard. Who's going to do it tonight?
Who's gonna do it tonight? Look, the fact that he's up there makes me want to say Cameron Dowds. The fact that he's put it on the front row can only be a good thing. I guess my only concern is how much has he deviated from his normal setups, if at all? Has he just got the raw pace over 1 lap finally? Or is it just a simple case of, has he tried to maybe put a little bit too much into the 1 lap pace, and that's going to affect his race pace? Who knows? But I'm going to go with a Cameron Dowds win.
Ooh, big on there, and an Avatar just to it's Ren in P1 and Cameron in P2. I can't, you know what? I can't remember who's 3rd, but I can remember who's 4th, which was Brando. That's how crazy it is. We are. Well, looking like we're readying up.
I can have a look.
Looking like we're readying up really, really quickly here in World Online Restart. So let's have a look at the calendar. Obviously, 2 more rounds for the year, and that is tonight and Hungary next week, 2 short ones, and then 3 absolute epic blockbusters to start 2025, and that is the Canadian Grand Prix, the Austrian Grand Prix, and then Sao Paulo. What a way to start 2025 when that comes around, Leopard. Yeah. But Hungary is going to be very similar to tonight, isn't it? It's very close quarters, and I know you've quite rightly mentioned around it anyway, but people have got to be on their guard and make sure they get their lap times in properly.
Yeah, definitely. You know, obviously this week and next week are going to be, you know, well, this week is going to be huge from a qualifying point of view. Next week will be huge again. You know, these two tracks where even Canada as well, a lot can go wrong. You know, these, you know, 3 races that, you know, are upcoming are going to have a huge say in where this, you know, where this championship goes. And we could see a lot of big swings in these upcoming 3 rounds. Lots of twists and turns potentially, or maybe we'll just see someone take full advantage of it and pull away. We'll have to wait and see. Dry race, or at least a dry start though.
Dry start. We've had a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to weather this season. A lot of craziness, but it seems to have calmed itself down a little bit when, well, for tonight anyway, let's say. But you never know what's going to happen in Zandvoort. Sometimes the rain does hit quite late. It doesn't look cloudy, but with the way the mechanics work on this game, anything can happen at any time, and it could adjust people's strategy slightly. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And you know, I know it's been a little while since you were behind the F1 racing seat properly, but what kind of strategy would you be using tonight?
Well, I mean, the game's moved on as well, but I mean, my guess is going to be a hard medium or a medium hard. That would be my guess. Although I was looking at tier 2 earlier. I need to have a look. I saw a lot of soft runners, so it could be something like a medium soft potentially, if I'm not mistaken. Don't know. I mean, depends what kind of pace obviously each tire has, and you know, do you go for track position, or you know, do you stick it out on the harder tire to start with and then go for a softer tire? I mean, personally, if it were me, I'd want the softer tire at the end, if possible, especially if I've got a free choice off the start. And I think if I do a quick check of the race director, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Most of them are mediums, but there are a couple softs I see, particularly at the front, which will be interesting. But yeah, I think from looking at it, looking at tier 2, it could see a lot of mediums or soft compound tires. So that's a bit different, a bit like last week.
We do like it being moved around and swapped up a little bit. You know what? I'm not going to miss the start of this one. I'm going to go to the paddock or the paddock screen early because I don't want to panic pressing the button a little bit too late or anything like that. I don't know why. I just feel that going into turn 1, because it's so important, I know you can't win a race at turn 1, but you can definitely lose it. And I feel like tonight is going to be crucial for that. And I don't know why. You know, when you just get that feeling. You know, I mean, now it's going to be really boring into turn 1, isn't it? It's going to be single file and everyone's all proper prim and proper British gentlemanly, like. Yeah. Oh no, after you. But no, I don't. It's going to be interesting.
With any turn 1, it's obviously, you know, the classic saying goes, you can't win a race at turn 1. You can definitely lose it. You can also make your race at turn 1. You know, it's because it's the biggest chance to, you know, gain and lose positions, and you know, you've got to have that balance between going for it and trying to make places, and obviously running the race, but you can't play it too safe, because then you just allow yourself to get beaten up and swallowed up by the field. Let's see what happens. So we got 5 lights.
5 lights now for season 19, round 5, and round 6, sorry, and away we go. And Renz looks like he's had a pretty perfect start. So is Quantum, who's already trying around the outside of Cameron Dowds as they head into turn 1. And it looks like it's settled for Cameron just to be there. But Brando is already, well, attacking and being attacked by Joe Murphy. That's a great move if Joe Murphy can hang it up the inside of Brando. But I don't know if it's going to be enough to hold it for the time being. With Gabble alongside him, it's too wide as they head through the snaky part, and this is going to be very, very close between the two of them. Surely one of them has to concede, and it is that Joe Murphy that concedes in the end. But what a start to this Grand Prix.
Yeah, back to Gabor to the inside of Brando. Gabor's got his racing gloves on, that's for sure. He's got the fire in his belly after the start, and now, as a result of that attack on Brando, he's left himself vulnerable to an attack from Joe Murphy. So he tries to get one, instead he might lose one. Gabor, and think in the end, he's just going to hold on to that P5 he just gained off Joe Murphy. So Gabor up to 5th, Renz Thomason held the lead into turn 1. Cameron Dowd slot into second place. Quantum tried to make the move on Cameron Dowd, but nothing doing. And already seeing the field getting a little bit stretched. Obviously no DRS on this straight. We'll see DRS on the second straight, DRS straight this lap around. Of course, that's the other thing. That's the other reason why we see so many trains. Is obviously, you know, it takes less time for the DRS to be activated. Don't quite have the 3 laps as, you know, we've seen for so long to break away. It's only just the, well, 1.5 really, depending on whether that detection point is. But yeah, Cameron Dowd selling in, obviously. His first objective will be to keep hold of that DRS, and I think he'll be going about that just fine. It's within a couple of tenths of Renz Thomason, so he should be able to hang on to that just nicely. As we have a yellow in sector 1, or at the end of sector 1, and it looks like a lesson has gone for a bit of a spin.
And Dirk's gone off the track as well, coming back onto it. iPhantom, I don't know if he got tagged a little bit in the end, but he had gone as well. There's a lot of drivers making silly mistakes here. Uncharacteristically silly mistakes as well, as heading into just behind Ian is Alpha Gully and Zach fighting, squabbling away, I should say, into turn 11. A little bit more contact between the two of them, as neither of them can find, well, space on this rather large and wide racetrack. And I think Zach now has lost a little bit of time coming to it. Quantum fastest man. Can Epic Veil make a move on Zach? I don't think he's got the straight line speed. He's actually Zach having a look at his teammate Alpha Gully, and it's switchback possible on it as they head through turn 2 into turn 3. This is very good racing from the two of them, but I don't think it's... Oh, there's contact behind.
Because Epic Veil. Epic Veil to the outside. He makes the most of it. A little bit argy-bargy, but Epic Veil taking full advantage of Zach just getting a little bit balked by Alpha Gully. Alpha Gully got in front of him into turn number 3, and yeah, just slightly balked Zach a bit. And Epic Veil said, "Thank you very much. I'll just sweep around the outside and take P13." Epic Veil been a couple positions off that start, 4 positions in fact. So Epic Veil has had a decent start, and he's up to the lower end of the the upper end of the non-points paying positions, and he's got his sights well and truly on the back end of that top 10, as well as teammate Alpha Gully. But yeah, up at the front, single file as expected. Let's see what Cameron Dowd can do down this pit straight.
Yeah, I think Quartz has got damaged as well with that at the beginning of it all. But into the lead is Cameron Dowd, and Joe Murphy's the fastest man. And I think this could be what Cameron and Renz do, just maybe swap every lap, and it's not going to do any harm to either of them. But you don't want to be behind too long, because the engines do overheat.
Yeah, they can do. From memory, I mean, I don't know what it's like in this game, but from memory, you know, it's certainly, if it gets to the real extreme, it can have an effect. This was the second time I've seen him just a little bit wide through that right-hander of turn number 7. Again, probably not a huge amount to worry about for our championship leader just yet with that, but that is the second time I've seen him go just a little bit wide through turn 7. Quite frankly, as long as we're within DRS, all is well. And yeah, I can see he's tucked right behind Cameron Dowd. We'll be interested to see how much that extra tenth he had, give or take, switch over such a short circuit, how much that could translate into race pace. Potentially, we'll see. Obviously, that's going to be enough to break away, as Renz Thomason, just like Cameron Dowd did to him a lap ago, moves back into the lead of the Dutch Grand Prix. The solid move down into turn 1, and it looks like it's all single file just behind him. What I am beginning to notice, there is already nearly a break in the train, and it looks like iPhantom is slowly but surely losing touch of the leading 7, and this could be a train of 7 for this Grand Prix victory.
And Justin, who was last week's winner, and Epic Veil you can throw in there as well, will be a bit frustrated with that, because they know they've got pace to be leading with the front runners, but it could also be track dependent, which will possibly mean that it's cost them a little bit. But yeah, iPhantom 1.2 seconds, 1.3 now behind Tech, and leader of the second train, we can say, for the time being. And let's see what Cameron, who's Quantum is, you know what, he's whichever of the two is in front of him, he's keeping close to the back end of their diffuser.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing what he needs to do, as is everyone else in this leading train of 7, as I think Cameron Dowds is going to re-overtake Rens Thomason once again. Down to one, Joe Murphy is overtaking Gabor as well, but yeah, Cameron Dowds ahead before the braking zone. In fact, he had enough time to get back onto the racing line to brake before turn 1. So job done once again. Cameron Dowds leads the way, and yeah, as I think you said a couple laps ago, it's probably going to be quite the theme throughout the rest of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, they're a lot closer coming through this the middle sector, I suppose, just before the middle sector. You could barely split them with a piece of paper. It's that close between Cameron, Rens and Quantum, which is very, very interesting. Brando's starting to get involved a little bit as well now. But yeah, Rens, I don't know, maybe forcing the issue to Cameron and just going, you know what, I am the championship leader and I'm going to make sure you're aware of that.
Yep, he's right. Tucks right behind the Scotsman is Rens Thomason, as he was almost pushing him through that middle sector. Yeah, again, I think it's just comfortable. This is where he's comfortable running in behind. I don't think Cameron Dowds, if there is any kind of mental games kind of intention from Rens, I don't think there'll be anything Cameron Dowds can't handle. As here we go once again, Rens Thomason. Mirror signal maneuver, job done. On the inside for turn 1, and he leads the race once again. Does our championship leader here on lap 7:36, and yeah, very clear that that's going to be the theme. Justin has got to P8, by the way, but yeah, that gap already up to 1.8, and this may be the track where it can actually be broken properly. We'll have to find out. But yeah, Justin has a lot of work to do in that second kick setup. Obviously, last week's race winner. He's got a lot of work to do though if he wants to bridge that gap, although he's already got it down to 1.4.
Yeah, I think
so he's going about it in the right way.
He's got to use Ryan as well. Him and Ryan have got to work together to get that gap back, well, within where it's meant to be. They're doing a very good job of it, like you said, though. But let's have a look at Quantum, because Quantum is closer to Cameron than Cameron is to Rens.
Yep, Quantum looking, oh, it's the back of him into turn 12. Just got a little bit too eager on the throttle, a little bit too excited, got a bit too much speed, and just tapped the back of the Mercedes. Hopefully there's no wing damage to the Alpine. But yeah, just tapped the back of Cameron slightly, but I think Cameron Dowds, once again, is going to be easy pickings. And yeah, job done once again. It's Brando going a little bit defensive, so he doesn't want to allow Joe Murphy through. And Joe Murphy's actually, I think I saw a lap or two ago, got past NVR Gabor down that pit straight as well. But yeah, I think we've already kind of seen the pattern this race is going to go in, and where this race could be decided. I think one place this race could be decided, it's probably a bit early for it, especially as they're on the medium tyre. We expect them to chuck on a set of soft compound tyres for their second pit stop. This could heavily be decided in the pit stop phase.
It definitely could have been, and Gabble there makes a mistake in the entry of turn 10. It could, well, you could class it as the exit of turn 9 as well. Just the back end squibbling out as we're back on board with the leaders of Cameron, Rens and Quantum. Gabble's just not too far back. Justin's dropped back to 1.7 to the leading train of cars here in Zandvoort tonight, and we have lost 2 drivers. It's Quartz and Alson retired early doors, getting damage and spinning off as Rens retakes the lead of the Grand Prix. And yeah, pretty standard right now as Ryan now overtakes Justin, and Justin gets caught by Ian as well as they head into turn 1, and a little bit further back there as Justin will be slightly annoyed with that one.
Yeah, well, he had a good go at it, and you can see his battery, especially say compared to the leaders, is it's a lot lower. He was down at 30-40%, so he's really trying, but it's just not happening. That DRS down that pit straight is just a little bit too powerful, and everything he does gain, that lead train gains it back and some, what with being in the DRS. So even around Zandvoort, it just shows how powerful. Oh, Gabor nearly into the back of Joe Murphy. I don't know if he's got any damage from it. What he does have is going to be massively overheated rear compound tyres on that Alpine. He got massively out of shape on entry to turn number 10. Wheels completely out of line. Thankfully for Gabor, he only uses the one position to Tech Brutal, and he holds on to the DRS train, and he'll remain in P7. But that was a huge moment for one of our championship contenders.
Yeah, Ian did exactly the same, but here comes Quantum on Renz Thomason for the second place of this, but Quantum backs out in the end. But yeah, Ian had the same mistake. Well, said the same mistake, same time as Gabble had his mistake as well. So very, very troubling when you're following someone for so long. And you're not swapping positions like Cameron and Renza. It is a little bit easier to get complacent and make these sort of mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you got to remember is, you know, at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, there's a car in front, and as the car behind, it's your responsibility to avoid the car in front, and that can just mean, you know, just maybe braking a little bit early or not diving in under braking. The way you approach corners changes when there's a car ahead of you and you're not intending, you know, to make the move. You know, you've got to maybe, you know, lift off a little bit earlier, or, you know, just go slightly earlier on the brakes and ease it in. It will allow you to save a bit of tyre because the dirty air isn't going to be that much of an effect. Yeah, just if you're not going for it, just change the way things happen. Here comes Quantum, and here comes Renz Thomason. Now we're going to see 3 wide down into 1. Renz Thomason looks to the inside of Cameron Downs. Quantum dives it down the outside of both of them. He's going to try and get the exit. He's got the exit as Quantum. Over Renz Thomason to the outside for 2, and turn to the inside for turn 3. Now then, can he get a good exit? Can he get the traction? Can he get the power down? I think he has. He tries to squeeze Renz Thomason. They just about managed it. Renz Thomason slightly on the grass, and Quantum, with that, up to P2. Good move from the Alpine.
Quantum definitely showing his worth, and this is what we've been missing this season from Quantum. He's just, well, with his poor connection, his unfortunate connection and technological issues or equipment issues, but he's back with a bang this week, and he's doing a very, very good job about it as well, as he's now in front of Renz and could take the lead of the Grand Prix for the first time heading into lap 12, as Tom has quite rightly slapped my wrist and said it's Owen, not Ian. And I was going more for Ewan, so my pronunciation is absolutely terrible anyway. But here comes Quantum down the start-finish straight, and hopefully he is going to be nice and clean, and it is. Does Renz decide to do anything to it? No, he doesn't. He stays behind for the time being, but Quantum is the leader of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, I think Quantum has spent enough time in P3 and decided, you know what, I fancy I'm going to go leading this Grand Prix. And yeah, he's done just that. Renz Thomason on 1 lap, Cameron Downs the next. Job done. Quantum into lead this Grand Prix. Does he have enough pace to pull away? I very much doubt it, knowing how closely matched everyone is and how closely matched the DRS keeps everybody. But it does show that Quantum is happy to lead this race, happy to be out in front, which is a good sign, and a good sign of Quantum's confidence at this moment in time, as Joe Murphy has chopped up the inside of Brando in the middle sector. These two are now going to be side by side. Brando stuffs it back underneath him into turn number 10. So Brando holds on to B4 for the time being. That's going to allow Gabor to maybe think about lunging to 11 and 12. That'll be risky from back there, and indeed it was going to be, as Gabor decides, no, don't fancy that one. I'll keep on the P6, thank you very much. Little update before this DRS straight once again on this trade. They are pulling away, gap up to 3 seconds. I think there has been a bit of shenanigans further back that we've missed out on, and Justin, I think P8, barring any miracles, is going to be the best he's going to get. Here comes Renz Thomason, and oh my goodness me, they're 3 wide into turn 1. Renz Thomason up the inside of Cameron Downs and Quantum. They are 3 wide, they were 3 wide. Quantum backs out. Renz Thomason decides to take 2 for 1. Job done. Inside of both of them, Renz Thomason leads the Dutch Grand Prix once again.
Yeah, well, he's got to make things move, and he has done there, and maybe just forcing the issue for the time being, and he's showing he's happy to lead this Grand Prix as well, as Joe Murphy definitely looks quick in this middle sector, because he's all over he always gets all over the back of Brando, but he's not going to dart up the inside of turn 9 like he did last time through. But yeah, interesting battling throughout, and still pulling away from that second train, but definitely some sort of incident, as Zach and Epic Vale both go on a set of hards for the time being.
Yeah, I think that's clearly a case of wing damage, and obviously we can't chuck on another set of mediums, so we kind of have to put on the set of hards to the end anyway, because softs definitely aren't going to go. So it's a shame for both of them that their races have gone up in smoke by the looks of things. Here comes Cameron Downs backing off, interestingly, into 1, as Joe Murphy wants the inside of TRT Brando into 1. I think he's got it. He's going to move onto the curb. Job done for Joe Murphy. He's finally finally got his man, and he's up to P4. It's the kick Sauber wants to reignite his title charge after a disappointing British Grand Prix last week. Joe Murphy back up to P4, and he's dispatched other McLaren and Brando.
What a move from Joe Mercy. Joe Mercy? He was showing no mercy, let's say, as Joe Murphy up into 4th place. And Quantum now has to really look in that back mirror, because Joe Murphy's a slippery customer. He'll make moves where he can, as Quantum actually is looking like he's attacking Cameron more and more through this. So maybe Cameron has decided to go a little bit more conservative and let Renz lead this. Maybe that's why he pulled out of the move in the end into turn 1.
Yeah, just saw Quantum going a little bit deep into 11. He brought it back around nicely for turn 12, so nothing too harmful for Quantum's race. But yeah, it was interesting to see the Cameron Dowles decide not to go for into 1 like he has done on many other occasions. And I think he's going to have no choice but to go for into 1 on this occasion as we start lap 15 and 36. So Cameron Dowles is into lead once again. Whilst going on further back, we've got Gabor, I think, up the inside of TLC Brando. So Brando has lost 2 positions in 2 laps there. Not a great couple laps for the McLaren tech. Brutal is going to look, maybe going to try and make it 3 as he's got a good exit out of 3, but nothing doing for the RB on this occasion. He's going to have to tuck it behind McLaren for the time being. I thought he was maybe going to think about a surprise lunge for no apparent reason into turn 7, but wisely thought better of it. But yeah, Brando, not a good couple laps for McLaren, and it's been done by Joe Murphy and now Gabor. Let's see, Gabor, is he going to maybe think about a lunge into 10? No, way too far back to try that one. As a lot of the drivers will find themselves in that position a lot in this Grand Prix if it's not for DRS in turn 1.
Just looking, pit stops is going to be a bit of a problem for Alpine if they want to have the same pit stop time, because they're the only team in the top sort of 7 with 2 cars in there. So maybe that's why Gabble's decided to get a little bit of a Swift on, is so he can get that position on track, so he can make the calls. Cameron, ultra defensive. Here comes Quantum around the outside. Cameron's going to have the inside. It's 3 wide through 1. And Cameron is going to fall to 3rd place. Or is he? He's going to hold it. Yeah, he has. For possibly the first time this race, Cameron is not in 1st or 2nd place.
What a move that was from Quantum. Round the outside of the pair of them into turbo. Quantum, he's got his elbows out. And he's really feisty. He's up for it. Is the Alpine here today. Has not scored a single point all season. Because Quantum, that's how raw his luck has been in that Alpine. It's Joe Murphy up the inside of Cameron now as well. He has a look. He forces Cameron to give him a little bit of space, which puts him offline for turn number 10. So that will allow Joe Murphy to set up maybe for a lunge, but nothing doing. I think Brando's coming to a bit of contact with Tech Brutal, but looks like he's dropped like a stone. And it looks like we've got now a train of 6.
Yeah, I'm just trying to... I think Brando just made a mistake. I think that just the back end went on him there. I don't think there was contact at turn 10. I think the back end just went, which has now put him, well, in no man's land, and Ryan could catch him up. But here comes 3 wide again. Cameron is gone to the inside. Is he going to make the move in the inside this time? It didn't work for him last time. It's so tight between the 3 of them, sorry, as Cameron has to bail out of it again. But Renz takes the lead of the Grand Prix.
Indeed he does. Cameron Dowles and Quantum still side by side through the rest of the first sector. Quantum holds on to 2nd place for the time being. Is Cameron going to think about a lunge anywhere else? No. Sosmai once again. It's a little bit potentially too risky for them. We're barely at halfway point in this Grand Prix. We're approaching halfway point of this Grand Prix, and seeing this front 3 go 3 wide into turn 1, it just feels like it's a little bit too soon for kind of the case scenarios of it's a matter of time before something goes wrong and someone just comes off a little bit worse. You hope for everyone's sake that it doesn't end up that way. But I mean, it's cracking, for us to watch. But I just do get that little bit of a feeling that sooner rather than later, the more they go 3 wide into 1, that something somewhere along the line is going to go wrong. Hopefully, it doesn't. Here we go then. Lap 17 will turn to lap 18. Cameron Dowles wants to make a move on Quantum. Quantum is going to want to make a move on Rens Thomason. Here comes Quantum then to the inside of Rens Thomason. Here at the beginning of lap 18. Cameron Dowles going to look to be cheeky and slip through on the inside as well, but nothing doing. Rens has to drive out of turn number 1. And what's Joe Murphy thinking about in that kick Sauber? He's surely going to be eager to get involved with these front three and make a move at some point, maybe on this lap or on the next.
Yeah, it's it's feisty at the front. Joe Murphy looking like he wants to make moves into turn 9 at the inside, making people question what line to take, whether they go defensive or whether they don't, as it is definitely a 6 car now with Brando's move to, well, his unfortunate demise at number 10 a few laps ago. It has meant that train, though, has caught up slightly just behind.
Yes, true. They have gained a little bit. Obviously, that gap is now down to just 2 seconds instead of nearly 4. But yeah, still, it's 1.5 seconds too many. If you are this chasing train, as Justin is harassing the back of Brando. He wants to get that move done. Indeed, he has. He had to back out of the throttle through the banking. Brian's going to make the move as well, down into turn 1 as well. What's happening further up at the front? Oh, a lot's happening further up at the front. We've got Cameron Downs and Rens Thompson going side by side. Quantum's made the move to the lead. And now, two of the top contenders are going to go side by side as we climb the hill here on lap 19.
It is so close between the two of them. Quantum's being a bit of a roadblock for Cameron. And how is that not caused an incident? I'm not sure. There's no front wing damage, I don't think. But wow.
Here comes Joe Murphy.
It is all over.
Keeps the move. Sorry for going off there, Gareth. But yeah, Joe Murphy made the most of it. A surprise move once again, down into turn 9, but in the end just couldn't quite make it work. Cameron Downs had the drive on the outside to keep that P3 for the time being. But yeah, Joe Murphy really wants to get involved. Really wants to get stuck into this battle between this leading 3, and he can't really take your eyes off it, because I did for 1 second, and all manner of chaos unfolded once again. Here comes Rens Thompson then. Is he going to be making the move into one? You think he is. Here we go then to the inside. Goes the championship leader. Quantum dives in under braking around the outside. And actually holds on brilliantly around the outside. Does Quantum, and he keeps hold of the race lead for the time being. And also, one noticing is further back, they're dropping like flies. We're down to, 15 cars left in this race session?
Yeah, 15. I'm not sure. There must have been another incident. Is it Owen there picking up a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane? So not ideal there. I say people, he is the first to go onto the set softs as well. Ahead of the two. Oh no, is he? Oh no, it's a AI'd car of iPhantom that is going slow out of the pits. But yeah, through into the second DRS straight is Rens on Quantum with Cameron just behind, and Joe Murphy showing he's no slouch and definitely trying to be involved and not letting Cameron have a moment's rest.
Yeah, he's been trying to make that move for a couple of laps, and he's going to have yellow in sector 2. I think that's Owen, who's gone off a little bit. He's rejoined safe and sound, so he's back on track. Here comes Rens Thompson once again. This time I think he's going to have the move on Quantum into one. Here comes Joe Murphy once again, trying to make the move on Cameron Downs. He's going to look to the outside of turn number 1 is Joe Murphy, but again Cameron Downs hangs him out to dry and keeps on a P3. Timing a little bit of a twitch for the Scotsman through 2, but again keeps that Mercedes all under control, and again holds on to P3.
Yeah, really close chess-like stuff at the front at the moment between the top 6. Owen, I think, is now going to be our 6th retirement, I'm afraid, which is a shame, because you never know if a safety car is going to come out and bring it all back together. Alpha Gully has pitted and, onto a set of softs now with, 16 laps or just under 16 laps remaining?
15, I think. 15, I think.
Oh, yeah, 15. And Quantum, trying to retake the lead of this Grand Prix. And makes a mistake hopping over the curb at turn 11, which could cost him a little bit of stability, but it should be all fine with the DRS usage back down the straight, unless they decide to pit.
Yeah, we are approaching that phase of this Grand Prix, and Rens Thompson makes the move. Cameron Downs makes the move to go into the pit lane. Who else came in? It was NVR Gabor who also came in to the pit lane, taking advantage of Quantum staying out. So Quantum stays out, Joe Murphy stays out, Tech Brutal stays out. The other 3, Gabor, Cameron Downs and Rens Thompson, all into the pit lane at the end of lap 21. So they've gone for an undercut. They want as much time on those soft common tyres as possible. And as said, this could be a huge moment for the race. Look at the gap Rens Thompson has.
That is huge to Cameron Dowds there, and well, I say probably it is likely to be a massive undercut on the guys that have stayed out as well. It's odd to see Joe Murphy decide to stay out while his teammate come in. And same with Quantum. They were the leading cars on their team, but they've decided to do the other way. Avatar saying it's too early for softs, which could be right, but don't know. Epic Veil has made a mistake, and it's a VSC, which is going to help Quantum, Joe Murphy, Tech, and Brando, and Hazara in this Grand Prix.
Joe Murphy's title charge just lit up, I think, with that virtual safety car. Let's see what happens. Joe Murphy, well, he's trying to get into pit lane. Quantum, I think, trying to stick to Delta. Don't speed in the pit lane now, lads. There you go. Get it all stopped. So these three now get free pit stop. Brando, that's not what you want to be doing. Not the virtual safety car, mate. That's an unforced error if I've ever seen one. Brando will nevertheless put himself soft compound tyres, as will Hazara, obviously. So they're going to make the move onto the soft compound tyre. How much have they gained on, you know, those that pitted a lap ago? Here is Renz Thompson through turn one. Not as much as you'd think, really. Brando ahead of Cameron Dowds. Cameron Dowds and Gabor are out this Grand Prix. They're out of the race victory, I think, with that.
That is mental to say, because Brando is ahead of Cameron Dowds after making a mistake coming through it, and that is all of a sudden. And you know what? Renz might have burnt a lot of his ERS just to keep through all this, and there's another. It's a full safety car. What has happened here? There's an incident, I think, with Epic Veil. I don't know.
Rain and Zach.
Rain. We're down to 12 cars.
No. It's mental.
Let's see what we can... Well, whether Epic Veil, whether there's going to be any footage as he... Well, come out of the pits and... Will the safety car let him through? This is going to be an interesting... It should do, but whether it does or not is down to the coding of the game, I guess. Let's have a look. I can't see any...
No, it was down here, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, Tech feigning a pit stop, and Brando coming into the pits to serve that 10 seconds.
Yeah. So it's bailed Brando out a little bit. I mean, he'll still drop, you know, well down. Alpha Gully decides, yep, I'll take another fresh set of soft compound tyres, which is probably a smart move if you're, you know, further at the back. I'm a bit surprised Ryan or Justin hasn't gone for that in their positions, but Ayo. What it has done, it has bailed Cameron Dowds and Gabor out from that pit stop sequence. I said it'd have a huge effect, and if it wasn't for their safety car, it would have had a huge effect. It would have completely ruled out, I reckon, Cameron Dowds and Gabor of challenging for race victory, and it would have allowed what is the top four at the moment to scrap it out for themselves. Which would have been music to Joe Murphy's ears, it would have been music to Renz Thomason's ears, especially if he picked up another victory. But in the end, another incident just after we got back underway from the virtual brings out the full safety car, and it bunches everyone back together. And yeah, as you mentioned, only down to only 12. It's almost looking like the olden days of league racing. This is. I remember it's like going back to the days when it's like, yeah, okay, 12 is a decent number size lobby, whereas now it's like you need near enough full grids for it to be considered a decent size. This would be considered almost criminal to have a grid this low if you were to start it. Obviously, we haven't started with it. We've had a number of collisions, but it's just a little bit of a throwback, I guess, just seeing the amount of cars out on track at this moment in time.
So the comment, I'm just going to throw a little bit of a shade to the drivers that are retired for virtually no reason at all. This is this is why you don't retire early, because a safety car could come out and absolutely change your fortunes in the race. And I think we've only lost like maybe 3 drivers to actual incidents. But I do feel sorry for them as well, because if a safety car didn't come out there, they're just driving on their own, and that can be a little bit demoralising as well. Well, you said Cameron to win. He's currently 5th. The championship lead was 4th. Could we have something special on our hands tonight, do you think?
Potentially. I mean, there's a lot, you know, going on. Joe Murphy, looking for a big result to really ignite his title charge. Quantum I mean, currently in this Grand Prix, he's not scored a single point all season. Take Brutal, reigning Tier 2 champion. He's in a good position again. He wants to get his first big set points of the season. Gabor again, he's right behind, Renz Thomason and Cameron Dowes. He wants, another good result for his title charge. Justin as well. He's been brought back into this. After what has been not a great race from last week's race winner, he's now more than in it. And of course, you've got, Ryan's going to want, basically, if you're in this Grand Prix, you've got a shot from where you are. Epic Vale lags out. I don't think PS there's not a lot I can do about that, unfortunately. And safety car in this lap is also not going to help him either, so that's unfortunate. If you're Epic Vale, hopefully he can get back in time. But yeah, safety car restart, a lot going on, a lot of different stories and angles across the field. Who is going to be victorious? We've got a 10 or 11 lap dash to decide the Dutch Grand Prix.
Joe Murphy is waiting, desperate for Quantum to hit the button, hit the pedal to the metal, and it's all go now. And it's actually, I think, helped Tech a little bit out. Quantum's restart there. Cameron is all over the back of Renz going into turn 1. This could be huge for the title charge, and Renz is definitely pushing a little bit to the inside and held to the position. And Renz will be happy with that, keeping his position, because he did not need to lose that to Cameron down there, because Joe Murphy is up into second place. And, well, you've mentioned it quite a lot, reigniting his title charge. He's yet to win a race this season. Could this be the one?
Yep, there's no better time to pick up your first victory of the season. His first half of the season has, it's been consistent. Buying the DNF and Silverstone last week, it's been consistent. It's put him in position, which is all he can ask for. And now he's in a position where these big points, if he gets big points, they'll go a huge way to his title charge. And he's going about it in the right way. He's doing just that. He's got P2 at the moment. That's still been a good result, especially with it being Quantum ahead of him. That's no disrespect to Quantum, but let's face it, I've already said it, not scored a single point all season. He's definitely not in contention for this title. It'd be a miracle if he put himself in contention, but I don't think that's going to quite happen. I mean, he's going to need an absolutely mega run that I don't think anyone will have ever seen to end this season if Quantum's going to throw himself in the mix. But yeah, Joe Murphy in a very good position. Of course, if you throw a flag out now, it would be his best result of the season. Yeah, and he's also, he's got Tech Brutal in between himself and Renz Thomason as well, so it's all looking good for the Kick Sauber in second at this moment in time.
It is indeed. The top three are, the space between them are reminiscent of when the top three were Cameron, Renz and Quantum. Now it's Quantum, Joe Murphy and Tech. They're all stuck together, but Renz is getting involved as well, a little bit closer than Brando was when he was in fourth place. So this is going to become very interesting through all this, and Joe Murphy is going to be wary of what Renz can do, because Renz has shown how quick he is.
Yeah, for sure. But I think also more importantly, there's not a huge reason to panic. So I don't think anyone's proven they can, check out and break DRS. Here comes Joe Murphy then into the Grand Prix. Tech Brutal's going to follow him on by as well. So Joe Murphy and Tech Brutal breeze on by the Alpine and Quantum. Quantum a bit of a same duck down that pit straight, but that won't concern him too much at this stage. It's all really now about setting yourself up for laps 34, 35 and 36. You're in position in those laps, that's, job done. These remaining, 6 or 7 laps until then, it's all about putting yourself in position, to go and fight for victory, to go and fight for a podium.
Yeah, you look at Joe Murphy's probably going to look at it and go and think how much he's going to regret not scoring points last week at Silverstone. If he does come away and win here tonight, he had a pretty incredible record before that, a fifth, a fourth and a third. But at the moment, he's leading here in Zandvoort, holding station at the moment. And Cameron Downs and Renz, second and first respectively, on the grid are now fifth and fourth respectively. So that's going to be very interesting to see how they can handle the pressure. But Renz looks like he's handling it well, because he's all over the back of Quantum as they come down the start-finish straight. He goes to the inside. It's going to be 3-4 wide maybe into turn 1. Renz has nowhere to go. There's a little bit of contact. Renz is forcing some space there. How is he going to? Surely not. He's going to... It's so close between the 2 of them, the 3 of them, the 4 of them. They're all in there.
They're all in there. They're all on the same piece of track. How there's not been a mass collision? Yeah, I do not know, especially if they all just kept their footed. Here comes Gabor on Cameron Downs. Here comes Joe Murphy and Renz Thompson. Gabor backs out. Joe Murphy and Renz do battle through turns. They're still side by side. That's incredible. They're still side by side through turn and rate. Inches between them at such high speed. Here in the Netherlands, do they hug tyres? No, they don't. They're side by side still through turn 10. Incredible action between the pair. Joe Murphy tries to move Renz onto the curb, and I think he's done just enough. Renz Thompson, Joe Murphy, take a bow. That was incredible.
What a sequence of events between the 2 of them. Somehow, Joe Murphy held. Tech is leading the Grand Prix from Quantum, from Joe Murphy to Renz, and it's all going to kick off again, heading into lap 30. Surely Cameron Dowds is not going to get involved, is he? He is. He's going up the inside of Renz. That could be the move. That could help Joe Murphy and himself out in the title race, and a hell of a lot. But it's side by side as they come through turn 1 into turn 2. It's still side by side. Are we going to see the exact same incredible racing between Cameron and Renz, and we saw a lap ago with Renz and Joe Murphy?
Here we go, then they climb the hill. No, Renz has to back out. Cameron Downs, he's used a lot of battery though to get that move done. He's probably gonna have to hold stage for a bit and try and defend from Renz the best he can, because he is losing.
Ooh,
oh, hello, Gabor up the inside. Where has that come from? Justin wants to get involved as well. What on earth was that? Gabor trying to absolutely chuck one up the inside into the middle sector. Nothing doing. Renz holds on. But goodness me, that was an ambitious attempt from Gabor.
Well, he has made a name for himself of being a quick driver on qualifying, but now he's trying to get involved in race pace and incredible moves, and he's doing a fantastic job so far. But this race hasn't been his best, but he's getting in there. He's trying his best.
Yep, he's in the train, that's all he can ask for, but it's lap 30 or 36, it's going to be lap 31 very shortly. Here comes Quantum, doesn't feel like he has to make the move, so doesn't make the move. On Tech Brutal, Joe Murphy slots in behind, and he moves further back. No, all single file through turn number 1 as they file through the first sector once again. Only a handful of laps to go here in the Netherlands, in what's going to be an oh-so-crucial race, you feel, in deciding this Season 19 Console Tier 1 title. Gabor is going to have to try and make some moves if he wants to enhance his position in the title conversation and this Grand Prix, and he's got to make it quickly. He's down in P6. Can Justin maybe make some more moves? Ryan, is he going to look to the inside in the middle sector? Yes, he is, but he's not going to get the drive on the exit. Justin holds it around the outside for the time being. Justin also, if he wants to mount a title charge, he's going to have to make some moves quickly as well. It's all hotting up here at the front.
And Quantum looks, he's been the most consistent, obviously, with unfortunate for the safety car, the virtual safety car for Cameron and Renz, actually, for more Renz than Cameron. It probably helped Cameron out a little bit, all being said and done. But Quantum's been the ever-present in the top 3, and at the moment, he's looking at a move on Tech Brutal to take the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 32. Joe Murphy's trying to get involved as well on Tech. Cameron just behind. It's semi-3 wide, I suppose you could call it, as they come on through. Is Tech going to fight it? Oh, no. That is Joe Murphy into the lead of the Grand Prix, but side by side, a long way through with Cameron Downs behind side by side as well. But Joe Murphy has to give up the position, but Cameron isn't giving up the position. He's trying all the way through. My goodness me, it's still side by side. What is going to happen? Renz Thomason is up the inside of Cameron Downs. That is big, and I think that's pushed Cameron's off.
Cameron is off. It's another huge moment, and it looks like it could be another non-score for the Mercedes. Goodness me, I don't know what quite happened between the two, but Renz I don't know what happened. He tried to maybe go for it or try and stick his nose in a place where he couldn't really stick his nose. It's the first time we've kind of seen all season from the championship leader, and in the end, I think it just cost Cameron Downs in the end, just an innocent victim, a passenger involved, and it's cost him once again. He's down at P11. He's gonna have to try and make some moves. He could try and get back on the train if he's quick enough, and he might just well be. Here comes Tech Brutal. It's the inside of Quantum here on lap 33. And 36, Quantum tries to keep him on the inside curve. He should allow him to have the exit. Yes, he does. Quantum keeps the lead of the Dutch Grand Prix for the time being. Renz Thompson is up to P4, Gabor's up to P5 and all that. So good news for Gabor. If he can make a move on Renz, that's going to be oh so crucial as well, because obviously they are the two closest together in this title fight.
He needs to make the move. That's what needs to happen. Is Renz needs to get in front of Joe Murphy. Renz needs to get in front of Joe Murphy, but Gabor needs to get in front of Renz for his championship. And it's all so close here that you're not sure how it's going to all pan out, because Quantum has done really well holding his position and doing what he needs to do.
Yeah, he's done everything right as the Alpine and Quantum, and he's had a very good race, a much needed good race. Time will tell, well, very little time will tell if he holds on for victory, but he's certainly more than deserving of at least a podium as Quantum, because he has driven this race superbly from start to finish. Meanwhile, though, here comes Tech Brutal. Once again, here comes the Tier 2 champion. To the inside, no, he's backing off, he doesn't want it, doesn't fancy it. Does the Tier 2 champion, so Quantum keeps the lead on laps 34 or 36. Justin's trying to make moves, Gabor's trying to make moves as well. Here comes Joe Murphy as well through turn number 3. Nothing doing, but you just feel like, well, he's already been fireworks in his opening few laps of this soft stint. You feel like it's about to get even crazier.
Let's see how it all pans out, because Tech has a look up the inside of Quantum. It's not happening on this occasion. Joe Murphy, all he needs to do is ensure he finishes in front of Renz to stop any sort of major gap gain from Renz to him. But if I don't think there's going to be a penalty coming Ren's way for that incident with Cameron, but if there is, hypothetically, if he were to say get a 5-second penalty post-race, that's going to drop him outside of the points.
Oh, Cameron Dowd's very hard to braking, nearly to the back of Azara, but thankfully all stays intact. Quantum a little bit wide, I think a little bit of understeer on exit. That's going to leave him very vulnerable. Looks like Ted Brutal nearly lost the back end. He's going to go to the inside. Ted Brutal is going to go to the outside of Quantum. Here we go then. Ted Brutal versus Joe Murphy for the lead Grand Prix. Ted Brutal will have the inside. Quantum tries to stick his nose up the inside of Joe Murphy. Bit of contact, a little bit more contact. Let's get that Renz Thomason through. I said Quantum had driven a near enough perfect race. Basically, up until that moment, he's got the outside of Renz Thomason on the exit 3. That's going to be brilliant though. Good recovery. Going to get the drive, going to get the exit. He's going to try and squeeze and pinch Renz Thomason in. But in fact, it looks like it's Quantum that is the one boxed in. They're side by side. Once again through turn number 7. Here on lap 35-36. Renz backs out and thinks better of it. Almost thinking championship. Gabor stuffs it up the inside into the middle sector. Instinctive racing at his best. He then gets moved onto the grass by the championship leader, and Justin moves up by, Brando moves up by. Was a bit of brilliance from Gabor, turns into a little bit of a disaster. He's down to P7, and that's going to be has crucial implications as far as the championship goes. But we are just over a lap away from crowning the race victor here in the Netherlands.
Joe Murphy then all over the back of Tech Brutal as they head into the final lap. He's going to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Is it going to be enough for him to win the race? We'll have to wait and see. Quantum is having a battle around the outside of Tech as well. That is going to be a very strong move if he can get it done and completed. It's still side by side for the time being, but Tech has to concede, and Renz throws it up the inside of Tech. There's a bit of contact, but thankfully no damage to either car. Renz is holding 4th at the time being. Cameron's still stuck in 11th place. He's not going to get points there, as I think that's free. Justin having a go at Renz, but I don't think there was in the end. Ryan is trying to get through Gabor, who's dropped down to 7th place. Tech
no.
and Quantum. Oh, Quantum has left the set. That is heartbreaking for Quantum. He deserved so much more than what he's got as he's coming on through now. Tech is going to have to hold on for dear life to Renz behind, and poor Quantum. That is heartbreaking for him, but here comes, well, the final few parts of this lap, and Joe Murphy just has to push all the way, use all his battery, use everything he's got to make sure Tech doesn't do anything across the line. I think the gap is safe. It's half a second. Joe Murphy has done absolutely incredible to take victory here tonight, with Tech in 2nd place and Renz rounding out the podium.
Great race, a crucial race for the title. Joe Murphy takes his first race victory of the season. I believe was it Renz that came home in 3rd? Yes, it was. Yeah, Joe Murphy's got the gap down to about 5 points now, as now it looks like those two are the ones to watch for the title, because Gabor just got into a bit of a scruffy. I think it was, what was it, penultimate lap, he tried to stuff it up the inside of Renz. I thought he'd got the move done, but he couldn't quite, and in the end got caught in the grass and had to yield a couple more positions. Cameron Dowd, again, an unfortunate passenger. His 4th non-score of the season, his 3rd in a row. It's not what he wanted. And he's got a massive, massive uphill battle from here, does the Scotsman, if he wants to be crowned season 19 champion. But I think after that race, I think we are slowly but surely potentially going into a 2-way fight for this title, potentially, with that result.
Yeah, let's have a quick rundown of it. It's Joe Murphy from Tech Brutal and Rens Thomason, who are your top 3 and your podium sitters. Then Justin, last week's race winner, in 4th. Not a bad result in the end for him. 5th is Brando, Gabble, then Ryan, then Alpha Gully, Hazara, and then Cameron Dowd, because of Quantum's disconnect, gets a point. Then there's Quantum, Epic Vale rounding out the point scorers. Then there's no finishing for Zach, Rayan, Owen, iPhantom, Spicer, Dirk, Quartz, and the Ferrari driver who came in last minute, and I can't remember, GTM, Azara, Allison, there we go. Wow, what a way. I haven't even moved the thing over yet. Wow, what a way to end this Grand Prix. Again, very similar to Silverstone, action at the end.
Yeah, completely and utterly bananas at the end of the Dutch Grand Prix. And Joe Murphy, again, he's been consistent all season. He's been, also he's had a lot of top 5 finishes, but, only had the 1 podium to his name. What a perfect time to pick up your first race victory. Brings the gap down to 5 points between himself and Rens Thomason, heading into Hungary next week, the final race of 2024 before the Christmas break. Yeah, just perfectly timed to get that race victory for Joe Murphy. I'll be interested to see once the standings are, fully filled out what they look like. But if my thinking is correct, I think we are slowly but surely kind of filing it all down. And I think the 2 to watch are going to be Rens Thomason and Joe Murphy. Gabor's still going to have a huge say, I reckon, in this title. He's still going to be in. He's not the greatest race, not the greatest result, but he's still going to be more than in. He won't have lost actually too many points, I think, to Rens Thomason. So, Gabor's still going to be very much in this. But yeah, those 3 certainly look like the main protagonists. Cameron Dowd has a lot of work to do from back there.
Yeah, he does. And it's not, when Cameron finishes, he finishes well. You look at that and you think, oh, 2nd in China, he won in Singapore. Statement races, but he's, from that, 2 DNFs, 3 DNFs. Well, sorry, not 3 DNFs. 2 DNFs at 12th, and now whatever, at 1 point, maybe.
What a single point.
Obviously, Stuart, I think there's going to be Stuart. I'm looking in the chat, and it's all kicking off.
Is it?
Let's
have a look.
It's an interesting one, to say the least. I don't think it's wise for us to get interviews in this week, mainly because there might be some comments said that people don't want to be don't want to say, or anything like that. But it was an entertaining race. It took a while to really step off, and there was the virtual safety car, which we thought, oh, brilliant, it's changed things up. Rens has got a little bit of work to do. Then the full safety car, quite shortly afterwards, it really did set things up for a grandstand finish. Yep,
indeed. We thought we were kind of set for kind of a 4-way battle, didn't we, when the virtual came out, and kind of, it all unfolded, that kind of sequence of the race. But then, literally within seconds, we got a full safety car. It just blew the race, wide open once again. And in the end, Joe Murphy took advantage, to claim his first race victory of the season. And basically all that chaos that was unfolding those 10 laps are going to have a huge implications, for where, which direction this title race moves in. Also, Cameron Dowd has taken yet another big blow, and with only 4 rounds remaining, that could be a hammer blow to his title chances. I've already mentioned it. I think we could be not fully down to 3, but we definitely know the 3 to properly look for now, I think, in these remaining 4 races.
Yeah, it's 4 races isn't many, is it? You know, it's 100 points at the end of the day, and yeah, you when it you've got to hope if you're outside that top, probably 4, because Justin did score 4th in the end, didn't he? So he might be on the outskirts as well.
He's with Cameron Dowds, I think, in this battle.
Yeah, and you're hoping then for non-scoring points for Rennes, for Gabor, and for Joe Murphy, and out of the 3 of them, only 2 drivers has DNF'd once, and that's just showing a bit of consistency through it all,
Yep.
which is crazy. And you know you won't be expecting them to drop points or anything like that. 4 rounds remaining then. Rennes has a little bit of an advantage in this horse race. Is he going to be champion, do you think?
Well, last week I think we both said all eyes point towards Rens Thomason. Of course, this race it's all tightened back up again. You know, Joe Murphy has really stamped his authority, or made his name in this title hunt. Gabor has been consistent, been a bit quiet, kind of like quietly in the mix. You know, quiet in a good way. Has Gabor this season? Because you know we've spoken a lot about Rens Thomason, we've spoken a lot about Joe Murphy, we've spoken a lot about Cameron Dowds. But when you look at the standings, you know, going into the race, Gabor was in second, closest to Rens Thomason, 7 points back. He'll certainly be within. I think he'll be just over 10 back now after that. Yeah, between 10 and 15 back from Rens Thomason. So he'll still be very much in the mix. And you know, again, all it takes is going to be, you know, one big result, and he's, you know, right back in the thick of it. I mean, he is in the thick of it, but you know, properly, you know, within, you know, say a race victory of taking the lead of the standings. You know, all it takes is, you know, for one of these 3 to get a really good run going, and they could, you know, give themselves a little bit of daylight heading into Austria and Brazil. For us as neutrals, we hope no one does do that. It goes back and forth, and the point where, oh no, say maybe 3-way battle winner takes all into Lagos. Does that sound good?
What a way to end the season, eh?
One can dream.
The spiritual home, the spiritual end of season of F1, maybe you could say. There is that Glock moment still rings in people's ears, but what a way to end the season. We've got one more for you on console tier 1, and that is next week for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It is bound to be an absolute insane one if tonight, or at the end of tonight, is anything to go by. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.